Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why people just don't make it out here in Mexico. Why a lot of people come to Mexico and end up hating Mexico. Because, one thing is coming out here for vacation and another thing is living out here. And a lot of it has to do with just the culture. Obviously, Mexico's a completely different country. It's a different culture, as you guys can see in the surroundings already. As I'm driving around, Merida, Yucatan, Mexico, it's very different from probably where you're from and everything that comes with it, the customs, the way things are on a daily life, and so on and so forth. And so these are the things that we like to talk about here on this channel. I like to drive around, whether it's in my car or it's in, my bicycle, or I'm walking around and I get to really show you how things are out here, the real point of view, the real, perspective. And at the same time, I like to talk about what it is, as an expat, as an American that lives out here in Mexico, has been living here, again, 5.5 years and counting, married to a local, and so on and so forth, and how things are out here. So again, in this episode, we're going to be talking about a lot of reasons, why a lot of people just don't make it out here. And also, these reasons are the reasons why a lot of people make it out here. Remember, there's a lot of people that come to Mexico. A lot of people come and they thrive out here. They love it out here, like me, like a lot of you guys. And, it's just awesome. In fact, the one thing that is always a regret for most of you guys is you wish you would have come out here sooner. But there's a lot of people that come out here and they just have a completely different mindset, a completely different idea as to what it is to live in Mexico, what Mexico's like, and they get severely disappointed. And again, they can't wait to get back home. They can't get on a plane fast enough, or what have you. And we're going to be talking about why that is. For some, and by the way, there's a lot of reasons. I have a lot of notes here, and we're going to go through all of them, in today's episode. So, one of the reasons, again, by the way, some of these reasons are, pretty obvious. Some of these reasons are not that obvious. But again, this is why we make these episodes, because every one of you guys out there in the audience is completely different. And, for some of you guys, some of these things are obvious. Some of you guys is not obvious. Most people out there don't even talk about these things. And a lot of times you end up finding them out the hard way while you're living out here. And, these are the things that we're going to be talking about. The first thing we're going to be talking about is financial discipline. Now, again, it doesn't matter how much money you got. It doesn't matter what your, income level is. It doesn't matter really what your background is on that. Basically, you either have financial discipline or you don't. And a lot of people come out here and they think they're a kid in a candy store and they just spend, thinking they're on vacation the whole time, not realizing that they're living out here now, and before you know it, they're broke. Before you know it, they got to go home. Before you know it, they have no way to support themselves, and they start becoming a burden to people. And then they quickly find out they're in Mexico, and that's just not going to fly out here, so they got to fly back home. There's no government safety net. There's no kind of help when it comes to that. It's basically you're on your own. And, for a lot of people, they come out here, they don't even have a job. They figure out, I'm going to get a job when I get out here, end up failing miserably. A lot of people come out here with a lot of money, a lot of income. And then, before you know it, they don't manage it well. And, they're buying homes or renovating it. They're yada, yada, yada. And before you know it, they're also struggling financially. And, again, a lot of it just comes down to just having discipline. For example, out in Mexico, there's no real debt. I get asked a lot, by people that haven't even been to Mexico once. Hey, can I just get a mortgage and buy a house in Mexico? It's like, no, you're not even a legal resident. How are you going to get a loan, from what bank or what institution? And, again, just people are constantly thinking like that, where they think that they can just come out here and live exactly the same way as they live in the USA, where it's a lot of debt. You can just charge your way through it. And that's just not the way it works out here. Out here, in order for you to get any kind of credit, again, you got to earn it. You got to work very hard for it, and they, it's not like you get the best interest rates, when you're borrowing money, and so on and so forth. In fact, this is why most Mexicans, they just pay as they go. They're not out there constantly worried about these things when it comes to, like what kind of a loan, for example, if they're going to buy a home, buy a car, buy whatever, it is very rare that they get any kind of insane loan that they'll never be able to pay back. Most of the time they save the money, and then with that money, they either put a substantial down payment or just buy it out, buy out the item outright. They really, hate debt. And a lot of them, they just have no access to debt, have no access to credit. And because of that, the typical Mexican knows how to budget, learns how to budget. And again, they pay as they go. It is a very cash only, cash heavy society. Yes, there are plenty of options, to pay with credit cards, pay with, debit cards, obviously, it's a modern society and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, a lot of Americans, a lot of Canadians, a lot of people that come out here and they think that they're just going to be living the same exact way when it comes to, their spending of money, where they can just go over their budget and they can just, put it on the credit card or put it on, what have you, and just, again, accrue debt. And that's not the way it flies out here. Out here, you have to learn how to manage your money. Now, again, if you already know how to manage your money, it again doesn't matter how much you make per se, again, you'll be fine. Just as long as you know how to manage your money, as long as you know how to, what your budget is every month, you set money aside for emergencies, you make sure you're frugal, if when necessary, again, depending on your, income, again, make sure you have an income, that your income is sufficient enough, for you to support yourself, and so on and so forth. And, again, that's a major reason, why a lot of people say, oh, Mexico is terrible, it's expensive. Oh, Mexico sucks because I can't, make a living out there. Oh, Mexico sucks. And it's, they leave for financial reasons. And there's like a million scenarios, right, as to you out there making bad financial decisions that would put you on the first plane back, or, crossing the border some way, somehow, with your tail between your legs, just simply because you went broke. Bruh. You couldn't make it in Mexico financially, and you have to go back to the USA and then ask, Uncle Sam, for another free handout. Again, there's no free handouts out in Mexico. Another reason is that a lot of people out there just don't have any mental discipline, any kind of, just idea of what real life really is like, outside of their bubble where they come from. The fact that, out here in Mexico, things are just real. There is, no constant fear. A lot of people that come from the US especially, they are just constantly filled with fear. And all this fear is brought over here. And that fear, doesn't allow them to even deal with the most minor of challenge. Because they think that everyone out here is trying to scam them. Everyone out here is trying to, stick a knife in them. Everyone out here is just trying to do something horrible to them, when they're not. They're just friendly people. And yes, of course there's going to be scammers. Yes, of course there's going to be all kinds of people. But again, especially if you're coming from the US, are you kidding me right now? There's nothing in comparison to, whatever you're going to find out here. Out here for the most part, especially if you're sticking to, areas like what you're looking at right now, Merida, Yucatan, or, you go to other places that have a lot of expats, a lot more, kind of, it's just friendlier, safer. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You know what I mean? There's a lot of tourists, a lot of things like that. Yes, of course, you're going to get that gringo price from time to time. There's going to be things that happen from time to time. But at the end of the day, it's not, like everyone out here is trying to get you, like everyone out here is trying to gringo price you. Like, no, it's just, you got to realize and just what things are. And that gringo price, the reality is that goes all around the world. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. It's like anything else. You know what I mean? If you are dressed like you're coming from Beverly Hills and you're going to the hood to get something, like most likely you'll probably get overcharged. It's just as simple as that. It's a lot of times it's just economics. And so, if you want to get, treated like a local, well, act like a local, look like a local, try to blend in and be like one of them. Now, most people don't want to do that. That's the problem too, you know what I mean? They come out here and they want to stick out like a sore thumb. They want to stick out like, they're a vacationing boomer, that doesn't know any Spanish and doesn't know where they're at. And then they wonder, why they're probably going to get overcharged at a tourist location, and that's another thing too. They only stick to areas where, there's other expats, there's other Mexicans that might be speaking English. Again, all that comes at a premium, and people just don't understand that. So, comfort comes at a price. If you don't want to learn Spanish, it's going to come at a price. If you don't want to blend in with the locals, it's going to come at a price. And I can go on and on. You know what I mean? And so the thing is that out here, there's a lot of people that, a lot of Mexicans, that again, they value, their status in high society, or their status in society. So, with that being said, that's why it costs money. Again, you see a lot of Mexicans, that drive fancy BMWs and drive fancy cars. You've already seen when I've done videos in the past, and, I'm talking to, people that live in very fancy neighborhoods, expats just like you, and I talk to them, and they mention it multiple times that all of their neighbors are Mexican. It's not, what people think. And so, Mexico has a lot of money. Mexico's pretty rich. Yes, there's a large gap between the rich and the poor, and some people, again, can't handle that either for whatever reason. They just don't understand that, and they also don't understand how, things in Mexico are, where, again, things in Mexico are just different, and a lot of people just don't want to do any kind of assimilation at all, and they just don't understand that things in Mexico, they are just not going to ever be the same. When it comes to, like, for example, rules and regulations, the way things are handled on a day-to-day basis, what corruption is, they're all very, very, very different. You know what I mean? And as to what you might be used to in the USA, when you hear corruption in the USA or in Canada, or even in Europe, you think one thing, and when you say corruption in Mexico, it's a completely different thing. Me as an American, I cannot stand the horrible corruption in the USA. Now, the corruption in Mexico, yeah, it sucks, but it's pretty all right. It doesn't really bother me per se. It doesn't really affect me per se. It doesn't really affect the people on a day-to-day basis. So you know what? If I were to choose, I choose here. That's why I live in Mexico. Now, some people, they can turn a blind eye, to corruption. Like, again, I turned the blind eye here because, it is what it is. Like, as long as the government doesn't have that much power, who really cares? But when you go to another country in which the government might have a lot more power, USA, Canada, places in Europe, well, then guess what? The corruption they take it to another level. And I don't want to get into all the details here. That's why you're watching these videos. That's what you want to, probably come out here to Mexico, because that there's a humongous difference in what things are like, when it comes to corruption, when it comes to rules and regulations, when it comes to just so many of these things that, again, a lot of people come out here and they just cannot stand the fact that, there's no building codes, like they are, in the USA, that there's no, rules and regulations. How come the cop isn't enforcing, the noise ordinance? What noise ordinance? How come, that person is driving without a license? How come that person is driving, with 15 people hanging out from the back of the pickup truck, and so on and so forth, and they just cannot handle that. They think it's, a third world country. They think it's anarchy. It's just, too many people out there, being able to just, think for themselves. And that's another reason, a lot of people that come to Mexico, they lack the ability to think for themselves. They don't even have, anything like personal discipline, any kind of like semblance of like, again, just taking responsibility for their own actions and so on and so forth. So again, these are very important things. A lot of, people that, come to Mexico, and they are, for lack of a better term, soft, because they never really had to deal with any kind of difficulty. They never really had to, have to deal with any kind of like, a bad, horrible situation in which they would have to, survive, overcome, build mental calluses, build actual, experience and knowledge as to, how to overcome bad situations. Yes, and a lot of people out there lack the ability to overcome these things. They just don't have any personal resilience, and they don't have the ability to, again, to retain any kind of like discipline, that they would have in the face of stress. Like they just cannot deal with stress. So again, they don't have any personal discipline when it comes to, financials, when it comes to making just day-to-day decisions, when it comes to, just, again, being able to face difficulty, being able to face a horrible thing. And again, things happen. There's all kinds of things that can happen. You know what I mean? It's as simple as, again, what are you going to do in the face of an emergency? And a lot of people are just used to, being able to call, for help. You know what I mean? Instead of just being able to figure it out on their own. Look, I understand there's situations in which you need to call 911. You need to call for help. You need to, deal with a certain emergency. But, it's not the same as, when sometimes, a lot of people, like in the U.S., they're used to calling 911 because McDonald's didn't get their chicken nugget order correct.
Bruh.
And this. You see it all the time. You hear it all the time. Out here, it's no. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff is not a thing. And so it's just very, very different out here. A lot of people, again, they're just so used to, being able to, deal with things on their own, stresses in life, on their own. They're not relying on a government to come bail them out. They're not relying on the police. If they got to go to the hospital, they get there themselves, and so on and so forth. And so a lot of people, again, they just don't have the ability to just be able to, survive on their own, deal with, all these difficulties on their own. So when they come out here and they're like, oh my God, why is Mexico the way it is? Oh my God, they're treating me a certain way because I'm a gringo. Oh my God, why is the bureaucracy so slow? Why, why does the lawyer, tell me X, Y, Z, and then it takes forever? Why does the mechanic say this? Why do, and then just because they don't understand, they've never really been able to embrace, difficulty. And so, if you're out there and you're one of those people that can just, crack, at the first sight of any kind of stress or difficulty, Mexico's not going to be for you. You're not going to be able to you're not going to like it out here. You're not going to survive very long out here. A lot of people just lack patience. And look, I get it. I'm an American. I used to be very impatient. I come from a very go, go, go society. I'm an East Coaster. I'm from Miami. I'm Cuban. I mean, come on. Everything you could, throw at, what is it? If you had the description of someone that just doesn't stop, and is very impatient and very, just go, go, go. That would be me. And, I've been able to learn and embrace, taking it slow and learning a lot of patience out here. And again, it's been great for my health. Again, for some people, they just will never be able to get used to that or get accustomed to that. They want things done now. They want things done when they want them done. They can't, handle, the fact that like, hey, you might have to go a day without power because the electrician can't make it because, he has a baby shower that he has to get to. And that's more important than you. And you're just going to have to rough it out or just get a hotel for the night, whatever. And, just one example of a million. And so that's the thing, out here, for many people, this is just like a normal thing, for them to just, be able to either wait for a solution or take care of it themselves if they're that much of in a hurry. But, there's just certain things that you just cannot control, like especially if you're dealing with like, bureaucracy. You're trying to get your residency or you're trying to just do any kind of paperwork, trying to, buy an automobile and put it in your name. It's just, it's not like it is in the U.S. or in Canada. It takes a long time and it's very difficult. And so, a lot of people just, can't embrace that. And again, it's not just government, it's just everything in general, you know what I mean? And, even for me, sometimes I'm like, man, why is this taking so long? And it's just, well, because, it's just they're busy or there's a lot of people or I can go on and on. But people just need to learn patience. And so a lot of people just don't embrace it. They don't embrace, again, you come out to Mexico, for better quality of life. You come out to Mexico, in order to, take it slow, relax, enjoy life, live life. And yet, when you're presented with the opportunity to take it slow, be patient, chill out, relax, you don't do it. A lot of people don't do it. So again, for me, it was a difficult transition, but it really wasn't that difficult. It was actually pretty easy to eventually just go with the flow, chillax, relax, and just, hey, just smoke them if you got them, if whatever, it is what it is, just, have a drink, just enjoy, just, go and hang out with the neighbor, whatever, just deal with it. It's not that big of a deal. It's just life, it could be worse. So it's like that whole kind of idea, again, and like a lot of people just can't handle that, like the fact that like the typical Mexican is like that as well. That's why they're very happy. They just go with the flow. They deal with it. They're just used to hardship. And, they know that it could be a gazillion times worse. So they just again, whatever difficulty, whatever life difficulty is thrown at them, they just, again, go with the flow, crack a smile, and make it happen. And again, sometimes it's, at their own pace, because they understand that that's how life is. Why, rush to, fix one emergency when life is filled with emergencies and you're just going to have another one anyway. So you might as well just, fix it when appropriate. And not just that, but like even talking about just like the bureaucracy aspect, a lot of people freak out. Oh my God, I don't have my papers for immigration. Oh my God, I don't got my license. Oh my God, I don't got this. Oh my God, I don't got that. And then, when you actually encounter any kind of like authority figure out here, they don't care themselves about any of it. And so, again, it makes you think, it's like, what's your big hurry to, again, make sure that you have a license from the area? Is your license from, Ohio still valid? Then you're good to go. Don't worry about it. What's a big deal? You know what I mean? Like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, did you do all your paperwork to get your residency? Yeah, but like I haven't gotten my card yet and I don't know what I'm going to do. Listen, man, you're in the system. It's all said. They'll get you the, residency card when they get it. You're fine. You're set. Just relax. It's like, oh my God, I got to pay taxes. Oh my God, I got to get, it's like, why? Why do you got to pay taxes? The typical Mexican doesn't even pay taxes. Again, there's countless evidence out there. You can just talk to a Mexican tax lawyer and they'll let you know, look, you only got to pay taxes if you're in one of these 3 categories. That's it. Everyone else, just live your life and just enjoy and sit back. Nothing's going to happen. Again, going back to what I was saying earlier about people that are just living in that constant fear, they bring it over here and they just, again, they're constantly waiting for that boogeyman to show up, an FBI agent, a CIA agent, an IRS agent, whatever agent, Agent Orange, Agent Smith, what it's like, just relax. No one cares. No one, you're out of there already. You're out here living in a barn with a donkey. No agent is gonna come visit you. No one cares. No one. You're not even. You're still in the system, but you're not in the system. It's like just chill, relax. You're good. And people just can't, let that go. And I get it. Living in a very, very weird and interesting, kind of world at the moment. And people that are still watching this video right now, you're still here, this far into it. You know what I mean? For some of you guys, it's very, very easy to just disconnect once you're out here. But for a lot of people, it's just they can never disconnect. And, sometimes, eventually they either leave Mexico and they go to another country or they go back to their own country, depending. If they left because they're in fear of their government, they just keep, country hopping. They're just going, hopping from one country to the next. Always running away. And, for other people that, again, they just can't handle it because, again, there's not enough government. There's not enough bureaucracy. There's not enough, government intervention. There's not enough cops, cracking skulls, then they end up going back to the U.S., or wherever they're from, or Canada. And, it is what it is. I'm not going to lie. The longer I'm here, the more I want to be here, the better life gets, things are just, wow, more amazing. It's all about enjoying the ride. It's all about enjoying the adventure. If you're coming out here and you're thinking of everything, again, no matter how much hardship you're coming out here with, again, it's always going to be hardship, no matter what, okay? No matter if you got, all your T's crossed, all your I's dotted, you got everything, perfect. It's still going to be difficult. It's still going to have, hardships. It's life. It is what it is. It's a big move. It's a big thing. So the more you embrace the difficulty, the more you embrace the challenge, the more you embrace the adventure. In fact, treat it like an adventure because that's what it is. You'll be fine. You'll be very happy. You'll enjoy the whole thing. You're going to be one of those out there that's going to be, wow, I should have done this sooner. I should have just done this, a long time ago, and so on and so forth. But if you're out there and you're constantly, hating it and, hating everything about the process, hating everything about like, oh my God, how come they don't have my favorite, cheese at the grocery store? How come they don't have, my favorite, whatever at the whatever? How come, the bureaucracy is taking forever? How come, you're just constantly complaining and you just want everything to be exactly like it was, wherever you're from, you're going to be miserable out here and you're never going to ever assimilate and you're going to end up going back home. So, just be aware that, if you're coming out here, it doesn't matter what your real situation is, like, why you're leaving. It doesn't matter, what your financial situation is. It doesn't matter, none of these things really matter. It's all about mindset. It's all about, again, discipline, whether it's, financial discipline, mental discipline, personal, discipline, having resilience, but just discipline, being able to, go out there and make it happen and just do it and not making any excuses and not constantly relying on something else, whatever it is. You being able to, again, take personal responsibility for your actions, again, for example, out here, you can drive your car without insurance. But guess what? If you get in an accident, you immediately at the car, accident scene right there, you have to pay the piper. So again, you get in an accident, depending on the severity, depending on how much is going to put you out, and you have to pay right then and there. So for example, if it's a minor traffic accident, you can probably get away, with just paying a few thousand pesos. If it's a major traffic accident, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Now, if you're a big money baller and you can just go to the ATM, take the money out, you're good to go, no problem. But a lot of people don't have the ability. In fact, you're probably going to end up having to go to jail, and then somebody's going to have to, go out on your behalf and get that money, and then you're going to have to pay it off. And once you pay it off, then you're out of jail. Now, how can you avoid that? Get insurance. You just get car insurance. That's it. Simple as that. The end. And it's very inexpensive. Even if you're driving with like an expired license and this and that, and it's like a million things, you're fine. You get insurance. You're good to go. And I can go on. There's a million other things out there. Like that. It's just people. Well, oh my God, that's crazy. How can people do that? But then, other people be like, oh yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. Because again, you are held responsible for your actions. And that goes with everything out here. Even if you got a dog, your dog bites someone else, it's just the same thing. Now, again, a dog bite's a lot different, than a car accident. And, you most likely will be able to just pay the victim off right then and there. But if you don't, you'll probably be in trouble. But again, not really, because again, there are scenarios in which, people have been bitten by dogs, the police, the people call the police, call or whatever, and nothing happens. You know what I mean? Or animals that get in a fight and nothing happens. And that's the thing. A lot of people, they can't understand why nothing happens. For me, it's great. It kind of sucks sometimes, but at the end of the day, you're held responsible. You got to take care of it. Sometimes, vigilante justice is the way to go out here. But, again, the typical Mexicans are already used to that. You might not be used to that. Again, you are just used to calling the cops, help, and having them just arrest everybody. You, the dog, everybody. You know what I mean? No, this is not the way it works out here. Again, people are just, they have to be personally responsible, one shape, form or another. And the law is not here, to always, protect you and so on and so forth. It's, again, only for real egregious things do they really just step in. Again, a lot of people out there that just don't make it out here is simply because, they have, for whatever reason in their minds, because of, maybe what society has taught them, the fact that hard work is associated with being poor. So again, when I make videos talking about, hey, yeah, you're going to have to come out here and you are going to probably have to cook for yourself. You're probably going to have to, learn how to garden. You're probably going to have to, do a lot of, things on your own. Again, you don't have to. You can always hire, we hire a handyman, hire a cleaning lady, hire all these things, private chef. But again, if you, or learn how to, change a light bulb yourself, if you clean your own house, if you, cook for yourself, and I can go on and on, it's going to help you a lot. But again, it goes with the whole thing where a lot of people don't even want to do any of this stuff. They don't want to work on their own car. They don't want to do any of these things because they associate work, any kind of hard work with being poor, which is kind of insane to me because that's... Anyways, whatever. The whole idea that, again, people come out here with the whole entitled mentality. They can come with a completely different kind of mentality. And because of this, they can't deal with life when they come out here because it's not like it is back home. Out here, you got to do the work. You got to do, what, you need to do in order to survive, whatever that is. And so that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people just, they're too needy out there and they're not willing to compromise, in the difference, when it comes to like, living in another country. The fact that, once you're living in another country, you got to make compromises. They're not going to have, your, Tyson chicken nuggets at the grocery store. They're probably just going to have some, Mexican chicken nuggets or, they're not going to have Nathan's hot dogs. They'll have some crappy brand, Mexican hot dog brand, It is what it is, you know what I mean? And I can go on and on, but it's like, If for people out there that, basically, they're going back home because they don't got their, Aunt Jemima, and their, Nathan's hot dogs and their whatever it is, and their Twinkies, their, what is it, like their little Debbie Twinkies, hey, it is what it is. Maybe you shouldn't have come to, out here to begin with. And hopefully you watch this video and you realize like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I should just stay home. Because again, just to reiterate, once you're coming out here, you're leaving your country. You're not in Kansas anymore. You're literally not. You're going to be in Mexico. You might be in the Yucatan or Sonora or Mexico City or what have you. But at the end of the day, you're not in Kansas, all right? You're not in the U.S. anymore. You're not where you come from anymore. And you have to. You have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to embrace the challenge. You have to embrace, the culture. You have to embrace life out here. And things are going to be very different on just about, anything you can imagine. In fact, there's a lot of things out here, that you will recognize from back home. And a lot of these things will make the transition a lot easier, where you're going to have some of the same things that you'll have back home. If you're ever homesick and you want McDonald's or Burger King or KFC or Pizza Hut, they got it. I don't recommend it, but they got it. You know what I mean? And I can go on and on. Again, they do have, little Debbie Twinkies, hostesses, whatever at the grocery store, but it's going to be like an imported product because, it has like, all these chemicals that, you probably shouldn't be consuming anyway. So, that's going to cost you like, I don't know, like $6, $7, for something that probably cost you like $1 or $2 back in the US. Now, if you eat the Mexican brand Little Debbie snack cakes, it's only going to cost you like under $1. Now, again, it's the Mexican brand. It's not going to taste the same. It might take some some getting used to. But another, sometimes it tastes better for you. Sometimes it doesn't. Like, for example, the Mexican Coca-Cola that comes in a big glass bottle, that is like heaven on earth. And out here, you can get it for 50 cents. Not like $5, in the US. So remember, this is backwards too. Because every once in a while, like I'll drink a Coca-Cola from a plastic bottle and it tastes like crap. I don't even want to drink it. I only drink from the glass bottle. It's just a big zillion times better. And the same thing, like out here, for example, like Lay's potato chips are called Sabritas. It's a completely different, name for the same brand, the same potato chip, the same company. So again, they're not going to have Chef Boyardee. They might not have a frozen pizza. They don't even have a frozen section in most grocery stores out here. Everything is fresh. All right. And again, there's all these things that you either embrace and enjoy the adventure, or you're going to hate life. You're not going to like it. And I think for a lot of people, that, are looking to leave, their situation at the moment, they, listen to all the things that I'm saying and they're like, wow, like that's going to be awesome. All that freedom, all that, responsibility that you would have for yourself, all that, organic food, the doctors, everything that you talk about on your channel, Jose, they sound amazing to me. But for a lot of people, when I tell them a lot of these things or make videos like this, they actually thank me as well for, thank you, Jose, because I almost made a huge mistake in going to Mexico. I had no idea it was going to be that way. I always thought that it was going to be, like a vacation or Club Med or this or that, whatever. I might as well just stay here where I'm at, or I might as well just move to another state in the USA, or just move to another area and just hunker down and deal with what's coming, because it's going to be a lot easier for me than going out to Mexico. Because again, just simply the fact that if you are not a person that, again, like I was saying before, you don't have any kind of personal resilience, you've never, been through any kind of tough situations, in which you just have to deal with it. And, you know what I mean? Just, deal with, rough situations that have made you a better and hardened individual. If you've never been through any of that, you're not going to make it out here. That's it. Like David Goggins says, all right, stay hard. If you have the ability to stay hard and you do that on a regular, consistent basis, all right, like Mr. Goggins, you'll be fine. You'll love it out here. It's going to be amazing. But if you lack the ability to stay hard, then you're just not going to make it out here. And with all that being said, I think I'm just going to end it right here. So with all that being said, guys, I want to give a big shout out to everyone out there, all the new patrons, all the new members, shout out to everyone out there, all the new subscribers, every single one of you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for making all of this possible. all of you guys that help financially, keep this show going. Again, whether you're a patron or member, sending a few bucks here or there, asking me a question. Again, if you want more info, go check out my website. Check out my website as well for free information. If you want all kinds of free information on moving to Mexico and then some, check out the website, because again, I have a lot of stuff on there, other videos, links to professionals, so many things for free. Everything is free. Free o'clock. All right, everything's free. If you ever, that's why again, I rely on donations and just the YouTube ads and all that stuff. If all you can do is just watch an ad, leave a like and subscribe and share the video, that's amazing. Wow, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. But again, if you can give a little more, again, you're not just helping me, you're helping the whole community, because everything I do is for free. Now, I do also have personal consulting. So if you do want to talk to me one-on-one, if you want to pay me for my time, if you want, again, personal one-on-one consulting and talk to me and ask me anything about whatever, yeah, I also have that. You know what I mean? Also, we got to feed this horse. This guy eats a lot, okay? Not just me, all right? So all this costs money, and, we got to keep the lights on so that I can continue making these videos for you guys. So again, if you want to, just do any of those things or do nothing at all, I really appreciate you, and thank you for watching all the way through, because you guys are the real all-stars out there, all right? The ones that watch the videos all the way through. So with all that being said, you already know the deal, guys. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please hit that bell icon, but more importantly than anything else, please stay awesome. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.